Hey, this is Stacia, and we are going to look at my round two game of the Parma Chess Championship, which I actually just got done playing. um, and this game I faced Don McClendon. I don't think I've beat Don McClendon before. I can tell you that the last time I faced him, it was rather embarrassing. I just like blundered and hung a knight like out of nowhere. This game I put up a better fight, so let's have a look at it. Okay, so this one I played e4. Somehow I got white twice in a row. Not sure how that happens. And he went c5. Of course, I was happy to see this because I played d4. And I was definitely looking forward to a Smith-Morra gambit. But he didn't really go for that. He instead played e6, which is basically, okay, it's called the Franco-Sicilian, I guess. But I call this the Franco-Benoni after d5. Okay, and I see the Lee Chess database calls this a French Benoni. Okay, whatever. It's basically like some version of the Benoni. Okay, and after d5, he did take, and I took back. And here I just went ahead. Oh, first he went d6, and then I went c4, which is the third most common move, but looks like it scores the best. So yeah, c4. I like c4 a lot. I'm going to see what the engine thinks about this because I remember that the engine likes knight c3 sometimes. Okay, it's giving bishop g3 and knight f3 and bishop e2. So those moves are trying to castle as quickly as possible, I think. Okay, let's just say knight f3 and knight f6 attacking the pawn. I guess it doesn't matter, it's protected. And we're just going to keep the c-pawn flexible for a while, it seems like. Although I do see c4 is coming up later in the line. And white's +1 according to the engine, but the engine loves space. It just loves the pawn on d5. So, okay, let's continue. After c4, he went bishop to e7, and I played knight c3. Yeah, bishop e7 is not normal at all. Normally they go knight f6, and probably in general they're going to play some version of knight f6, g6, bishop g7, because once that bishop lands on g7, that is a very, very nice diagonal for that bishop. So I was surprised myself to see bishop e7, and I thought, okay, my position must be pretty decent. Like white should have a normal edge. But my unfamiliarity with the middle game plans could be an issue, I thought, but okay, you know, whatever, I can figure it out. So I played knight to c3. Okay, we're basically out of book. Looks like the masters played bishop d3 in this position. I wasn't sure about bishop d3 because I thought after stuff like, let's just say knight f6, I thought if I go knight f3, looks like they go knight c3 here. But I thought, okay, wait a minute. Okay, I'm learning something new. So the masters had no intention of playing knight f3. They intended to play knight g to e2. And I think I will remember this for next time because this will help me a lot because basically the way I normally play the Benoni is, if we go back, the way I normally play against the Benoni is I play knight c3 and I play bishop d3, and I will not let the pin come in with bishop g4. So I will play the move h3. But in the Benonis that I play, I have a pawn on e4 usually. So since I don't have a pawn on e4 here, that means that bishop can then come to f5 or g4. So because of that, because there's more options for the bishop, h3 is kind of pointless because if I go h3, they can still go here. You know, so there's no harm, no foul there. You know what I mean? So h3 is pointless. So that makes bishop d3, knight g to e2 the correct setup for white because we intend to meet bishop g4 with the move f3. Okay, so I hope that made sense, but That's what I'm understanding about this. Of course, my problem is not in the opening usually. It's later. So anyway, let's continue. So I played knight to c3, and he went a6. Now, if someone plays a6, you should definitely be watching out for b5. And I do not think that we want to allow b5. So I played a4. I can see the engine doesn't care at all. Just kind of funny. In the lead chess database, a4 is not the most common. Yeah, so okay, I'm curious about this because I thought a4 was very necessary here. So let's just say that my worst nightmare comes true. I play knight f3, which the computer wants. It's one of the moves it wants. Okay, let's say they pin us, right? I was afraid of this. Okay, now the computer says, no problem, we go h3. And if they go here, wow, it actually wants g4. Kind of surprised by that. But okay, we don't have to. We can also go bishop d3. We're not concerned about the pin at all, apparently. And then, okay, I would think b5 is a concern. Well, I guess b5 is not ready, though. Maybe that's the point. Yeah, b5 is not ready. Because we could take, and win it with check. So it's not quite ready. Okay, well that answers my question then. The bishop should not be on h5, it should be on d7 to help with the pawn break, apparently. Yeah, I didn't really consider that. Okay, so a4 is kind of silly then. Like, he's not threatening to do this? Yeah, he's not. I've got that square covered twice. So, okay, let's just say I go here and he goes b5. I mean, we probably just take it. Yeah, engine says take. If he takes back, we take a check. Yeah, this is already looking good. And we do not want to trade because black has less space. So we just come back. We protect our pawn. That frees up this knight. We're going to castle, develop our pieces. White is +3 here, according to the engine. Wow. Okay, I'm learning a lot about the opening already. And I was hoping to because I'm not really sure. When I get this position in blitz, I'm often not happy with it. So anyway, let's get back to the game. After a6, a4, which was a little unnecessary, but white's still better here. And then he went knight to f6. And then I went knight f3 because, like I said, h3 is pointless. So I allowed the pin. And then here I went bishop e2. Okay, computer likes the way I'm playing. It wasn't the absolute best, but it was good. So, okay, and we have an advantage. So now castles, and I probably castled. I did. And knight b to d7. Okay, yeah, and around this point in the game, and this is a G90, by the way, so it's a classical chess, you know? So I had lots of time to think about the subtleties of the position. And here, you know, once we get to this position, I started thinking about my middle game plan. I'm like, what do I play for here? You know, I was not exactly sure. I could tell you that one thing that stands out to me is that the d6 pawn is backwards. Okay, it's backwards and weak. The only bad thing about that is it's kind of easy to defend. I know that sounds weird, but if you just imagine, like rook e8, bishop f8, that bishop can sit on f8, protecting the king side and protecting the pawn. The queen often purposely steps into a pin because we play bishop f4, but it protects this, you know, and does other stuff from there as well. And the other thing is that a rook could then protect it if needed. But in addition to that, our main way to attack it is with the bishop, and they can just stick their knight on e5, you know, and it's not so easy to attack. I mean, if we play f4, then our bishop can't go to f4. And if our bishop retreats to h2 like it does later, and we play f4, then the bishop gets blocked. So it's just like, it's just not so easy to attack this. So I think my idea to try and pile up on that pawn was maybe not correct. Oh, and I forgot to mention knight e4, or possibly knight f5, if we can get those moves in. Now, if you can get all of that in, you'll probably win the pawn, but it's not so easy to orchestrate. So anyway, another idea I had was, okay, so we have a weak e6 pawn. Another thing to notice about the position is that so far there is one open file, and that is the e file. So putting a rook on the e file makes a lot of sense. It's just rooks love open files. Let's put one on there, because eventually what will happen is someone will double on it, and you don't want it to be the other person. And then maybe there'll be a lot of trades down it. So we just need to put a rook on the e file. So that was another part of my plan. Another part of my plan was to play h3 and kind of entice my opponent into playing bishop takes knight, just to get the 2 bishop advantage. And I thought this also creates a hidey hole for my bishop, where it will stay permanently fixated on the weak pawn on d6. Okay, and one final facet of the plan was that, okay, I can play a5. This shuts down. This does 2 things. It's a normal move in the Benoni. It does 2 things though. Number one, it shuts down counterplay with b5 forever, because after b5 there's always en passant. And the other thing it does is free up the a4 square and create an outpost on b6. So I'm not saying it's always good, because sometimes the knight could be weird here. But this is an idea. It is an idea. Like, and for example, I would play it if I could like threaten a fork or something when I'm doing it. If it doesn't come with tempo, I find that it may not be the right plan in some positions, but okay. So lots of ideas I was thinking about. Let's continue with the game. So here I just went h3. I see the computer likes it, so that is good. h3, bishop h5. It's actually best to take the knight, which is pretty interesting. Yeah, I actually thought it might be 2, because I thought takes, knight e5. Computer does not give this move, by the way. And then I thought bishop e2, and the computer thinks I'm right. Like, I'm better here, because now I thought I can go for f4 pretty comfortably here, followed by f5 maybe, and just gain even more space. And yeah, I like that position. So I think that's why the computer says after this and this, it actually wants to play knight to e8. Yeah, I didn't even consider him playing this, but I probably should have, because the idea is simple. Black wants to play f5, I think, and gain space on the king side. f5 would take away the e4 square from me. My knight does want to go there to check the weak pawn. Yeah, so I like that knight e8 move. It makes sense to me. And I mean, normally you would go knight h5, but that's not available. So, okay. Anyway, they did not take in the game. They played bishop h5. Okay, just stepping back, which does make some sense. And then I decided to play bishop to f4. Now, I see that this move is a mistake, and that's very interesting to me, because I play this move all the time, and it just makes sense to me because I'm attacking the weak pawn. But I think what I'm learning, and I'll probably ask one of my coaches, I think what I'm learning is that that pawn's just too hard to attack. Like, this doesn't, all this does is create more trades. Like, for example, they could just take, and play knight e5. Like, why not? Like, please take the knight. Like, please take it. You know, and now this pawn structure is excellent for black. I like this pawn structure. The one downside of it is that this pawn could be mobile, so they will need to blockade it. Okay, and white's slightly better here, according to the computer, but Stockfish loves space, like I was saying. And so the pawn being on d5, like, Stockfish just loves that. but I'm not so sure it's that great. Okay, anyway. Well, I'm learning a lot. I hope you guys are too. It's good because I thought about these positions for so long during the game. Okay, bishop takes f3 was not played. They played bishop h5, and I played bishop f4. And after bishop f4, they simply played rook e8. Okay, so I'm making this the main line. Okay, rook e8 makes a lot of sense. There's two ideas. Put the rook on the open file, which we know, but also bishop f8. Clearing the square for the bishop. The bishop will protect the king side. G6, bishop g7 becomes an idea. So as you can see, I think that's a good move. And then I played rook e1 because I was like, yeah, I mean, I should put my rook on the open file as well. Now my bishop's protected. That kind of frees up my knight and my queen from protecting against, you know, this pin, which is not a pin. Okay, anyway, okay, so after rook e1, he played queen b6, and he said he just wanted to see what I would do here. Yeah, I think my response was fine. I played queen c2 because it connects my rooks and protects the pawn. Computer says we could play a5 right now, which, okay, I did not think we could do this now because it does attack the knight, but I guess there's probably like queen d3 or something. Or maybe we could just go bishop d2. Okay, computer says knight a4 and white wins. Wow. Okay, I should have thought of this. I've seen this theme before. So apparently the queen is completely trapped. That's kind of funny. Wow, yeah, completely trapped. That's gone, that's gone. That's gone by the knight on a4. Can't go there, there's a pawn. Yeah, wow, completely trapped. Okay, well, that's good to know. Instead, I went queen c2. And he went bishop g6. And this is the line I calculated because I thought, okay, I wanted him to go bishop g6. And then I thought I'll go bishop d3. And then he'll take, and I'll play rook b1 and laugh at him because his queen is trapped. So my less complicated queen trap, which he did not fall for, of course, but he did play bishop g6, and I did play bishop to d3. But here he went with knight f8. Yeah, I was very suspicious of this move, and I see the engine likes it. That is very interesting. But it makes a lot of sense now that I'm thinking about it, because part of why I played bishop f4 was to stop this knight e5 move. Now, I thought he would go bishop f8, though. I thought this is what would happen. And then here, you know, what do I do? I probably should take this. I probably would have taken it. I would expect them to take back or take the rook first. Let's just say they take the rook. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm still heavily guarding this. And I was, yeah, this doesn't work at all. Never mind. I thought I had played a5 already, and I haven't. So, but I will soon, apparently. Okay, so after queen b6, queen c2, bishop g6. Bishop d3, he played knight to f8, which is a good move. And there is an idea behind this move. I mean, it kind of reroutes the knight. The knight can't come here, so it needs a new circuit. So it comes here. It discourages me from taking the knight because he'll play knight takes g6. Tempo on my bishop, but also a good defensive piece. I could think about h4, but there's time for like h6 and bishop h7 as well. Wait, what am I talking about? That would be a knight. Never mind. But the knight's still eyeing e5 here. Yeah, I don't know. I liked knight to f8. Once I had a good look at it. So in this position, I just played a5. I was like, okay, look, I'm going to shut down your counterplay. I expected queen c7, and I thought, okay, this steps into a pin, and I'm going to come get that pawn. I'm going to reroute my knight somehow, and I'm going to attack that. I even thought about stuff like knight here, queen c3, queen g3. Anyway, I don't know. That's very slow, obviously, but I had a lot of different ideas I could go for to put pressure here. But as I said before, I'm not sure that was the right plan anymore. I think that was a dubious plan. Instead, maybe I should just double on the open file, recommended by National Master William Wright, who told me that after the game. So anyway, in the game, he went queen c7, and yeah, I went bishop h2. Now, okay, computer likes it. William Wright, he kind of like said this is kind of a waste of time. I kind of agree with them. I told him I didn't want to see, you know, I told him I wanted to do this plan, and I didn't want to see takes, knight g6 with tempo. But he said, well, move it if that happens. So this prophylaxis, I took too far, apparently. I don't need to do this. Yeah, and this is maybe the beginning of the wrong plan for me. And if you can tell from the tone of my voice, I do not win this game. This is the beginning of the wrong setup. Yeah, I see it goes from plus 1.4 to just plus 1. Okay, and in this position here, he does take and play knight g6, which is what I thought he would do, because it makes a lot of sense. I thought that's what he did. Oh, he did. And then I went knight to d2. Okay. Now, is this the right plan? Because I had to figure something out here. I thought knight to d2. My plan is to put a knight on e4. If he takes, I've got another one, so that's fine. And I'm going to try to just put maximum pressure on this pawn. The problem is it never really can happen. Now the computer still likes my move. It thinks it's okay. The top move it gives is rook f1, which is very interesting. Rook f1, really? Okay, I'm gonna, I'm still thinking, now it likes g4. Wow. Okay, I would have to calculate a lot before I play a move like g4. As Sam Shanklin says, pawns don't go backwards. So that's like, you know, that's very committal. It weakens these 4 squares. Just imagine black pieces showing up there. And it makes you not want to play g4. So we would have to calculate, make sure they don't actually get there. But okay, after knight to d2, he played knight d7. Yeah, and he's sort of like really piling up on that square now. And I went knight c to e4, which was my plan, to put something on e4. And now he goes knight d e5. Yeah, and I went queen c3. Ooh, sorry. Finally getting tired. Ooh, computer hates this move. Yeah, you know what? This next move did catch me by surprise, and that's kind of sad because I don't think it should. It was the move f5, which the engine likes. Yeah. So, um, so. It says I should go queen c2 instead. Maybe because after f5, now when I move my knight, I will be attacking the pawn. That must be the reason, as far as I can tell. So queen c3 kind of encourages it, but I was worried about trades down the file, and after takes, there's queen takes a5. Like in so many lines, I had to keep calculating that. It's funny though, when I was analyzing with a couple masters after the game, they basically were like, "Oh yeah, let black have that pawn." You know, like they were creating pressure and attacks on the other side of the board and in the center. And they were like, "Oh yeah, let black have that pawn," because the queen ends up severely misplaced over here, and they will have to try and survive what's going on the king side. Now, if they do survive, they'll be winning, but they can't really afford for their queen to take a vacation. So okay, so after this move, f5, which is played, I thought for a long time here, and I came up with the move f4. Okay, I see it's actually the best move. Although after the game, I regretted it. And the reason I regret it is because of what he played, which was knight to f7. Ooh, and I see that's top engine move. Actually, it also gives knight d7. Oh, and I have to play knight g3 here. Oh, yeah, wow. Now, I'm going to tell you something that is very tragic. I was calculating a bunch of different stuff because knight f7 surprised me, I have to admit. Like, I just did not see that move at all. Like, I honestly was expecting, you know, if this knight moves away, I'm going to go into g5. And after takes and takes, okay, my pawns are doubled and stuff, but my bishop opens up. And I thought that position, I like it. I'll play that position. Open f file as well, rook f1, and we play from there. Maybe even queen f3 at some point. So yeah, when he played knight to f7, I was like, at first I scoffed. I was like, oh, you can't play chess like this. And then I realized, like, that's actually a good move. My knight's under attack, and it cannot come to g5 because he's got it protected. So that loses a pawn now. I thought about playing it anyway, but yeah, the engine doesn't like that either. And then I thought about knight f2 and g4. But then I landed on knight g3, and I was like, you know what? I think knight g3 is the way to go. It looks awkward, but it attacks his pawn. It's not so clear how they protect it. Like, after knight g3, like, what do they do? I mean, did they attack the pawn? If they do this, I could go queen c2, I thought. Wow, it says knight h5 is winning, though. Why? Oh, yeah, I did see this during the game. There's that. So after, but yeah, knight h5, and now if they try bishop f6, we can actually take. That's pretty. Okay, I didn't see that during the game. I probably should have. So I planned on playing knight g3. And then I don't know what came over me. I just like spasmed and I moved my knight. And then I looked at the board. I was like, wait, that's not the move I decided on. but then I was like, well, this plan I also kind of like. So yeah, but it turns out that knight g3 and white has an advantage, and knight f2 and it's equal. Wow. So there you go. I have to control my impulses. I don't know. I had an impulse. I had impulses like that the last week at Parma as well. So at Kings Island, I need to be especially mindful of my impulses. So okay, anyway, I did think he would go bishop f6. He did go bishop f6. And I thought about queen a3 here, which the engine gives, but that seems ridiculous to me. So I didn't play that. I played queen c2. Okay, black's already a little bit better. He went knight to h6. Yeah, I was actually afraid of this. I thought he was going to do this. Yeah, but like all the masters were like, oh yeah, let him take because we have the file. It's like, wow, the file's more important than a pawn? Guess so. But the queen gets misplaced as well. So, yeah, after queen c2, he didn't even do this though. So my opponent was playing quite good, quite well, I think. Actually, the computer says you should take and take the pawn. But that's what computers do. They love to take pawns. Okay, so after queen c2, he went knight h6. Yeah, and then here I was like, well, you know, I heard Yasser Seirawan's voice in my head. He says, if you play A, you must play B. And in my mind, I played A, knight f2, and B is g4. Like, that's why I played knight f2, right? We control g4 and we play g4. And g4 threatens g5, which is a fork. Now, the problem with this move, which I did calculate, is that there is knight d4 pinning this knight. And then, unfortunately, if they take, you know, there's knight takes g4. Now, in that position, I analyzed further. And I thought maybe I could play f5 or knight f3. I was looking at those two moves. Well, I think f5 doesn't work, but knight f3 I was looking at. So that was my plan. And guess what? It actually happened. So when you calculate something, you better be pretty sure about it. Okay, so I played g4. Yeah, and he went takes, then here. And this is quite annoying. Yeah, I had another fairly long think here because there's some definite issues in the position. Like if we just pass, if we don't make a move, I think black's threatening takes, queen takes. That will attack the rook. I would have to play knight f3. But then there's more captures, right? There's knight takes g4. And that wins a pawn and attacks the pinned piece. And if I do something like knight f3, I thought you always have to throw in these moves just in case they do this. Takes. Okay, this time my rook's protected by the knight on f3, but then they take, and it's the same story. And it's just like, okay, my queen's protecting, but the queen is not a good protector because it's attacked by two minor pieces. So a queen and a king protecting is just going to lose a queen, or a knight rather. So yeah, I was nervous here. So I actually thought I have to play knight f3. Like what else? Like what else do I do? I was trying to get this to work, but then here. Like, okay, if I go knight f3, like I was saying, queen's protecting. That is not good enough. That's a fork. We cannot take, right? So that's just losing. So I figured out that g5 is just losing. I looked at f5, but on f5, yeah, I don't know. I thought they could do a lot of stuff here, such as, oh, I know what I thought they could do. Like take, and then take with check. Now that's a fork. I don't have time to take their knight. They could take, so let's say I move here, they take here. Okay, now I could do this, but then they get their knight out. So yeah, none of this is working. And in all these lines, you always have to throw in rook takes, and queen takes a5, like in all these lines. So I was spending a long time trying to figure out what to do. And I'm happy to say that I did find the best move, which is knight to f3. Okay, knight to f3 protects the rook, which means that if they go takes, and queen takes a5, we've got that covered. So that makes things a little bit better. But at the same time, we're allowing knight takes g4. And we're allowing bishop takes, king takes, knight takes g4 check. So it's still not ideal. Or takes, queen takes, knight takes, forking the queen and the bishop, and we move, and they can still take this. So I knew I was worse here. I knew I was worse. And indeed I was. So, okay. Well, my intuition was right. Too bad I didn't use it to play well. Okay, so, after, oh wow, I don't have many moves left. So after this, he took on f2, I believe. Yeah, he did. He took on f2. I did take with the queen, which is correct. And he played knight takes g4, which is correct. And here I decided to play queen to g3, which makes some sense, right? We're kind of x-raying the pawn, we're checking the knight. And I expected him to take my bishop, but I actually think it was right for him to not take it. Although taking it is probably also fine. Because this bishop, when I played f4, look what I did to my bishop. Yeah, I just missed that retreating move. Like in the lines I was analyzing, my bishop opens up at some point. Here, my bishop just kind of gets stuck. So as you'll see, he exploits that very nicely. So it went knight f3, takes, queen takes f2, knight takes, queen d7, yeah. I missed this move. Wow, it's the top engine move. I am shocked. That's the top engine move. Wow, it has two ideas. Number one, it protects the knight. But number two, he wants to blockade my pawn and keep my bishop bad. And keep his knight on g4. This knight is better than the bishop on h2, so he wants to keep that knight. He's only going to trade if he has to, which is probably the correct way to play it. All right, and then I went knight g5, which is the top move as well, and then he went queen f5, top move. Wow, so he found the best plan, I found the best plan. Knight e6. Of course, right? Like if I'm gonna go down, I want to have a knight on e6 when I go down. All right, and then he went rook e7, I guess doubling, and I went rook e2. I wasn't really intending on doubling though. I was intending on rook g2, which is kind of funny, because I figured if I double, I still can't move my knight because he's gonna double, and this will still only be protected once. So that doesn't make much sense. I would love to play king f2, I thought, but I can't because there's a stupid knight on g4. Yeah, and here I was already under 5 minutes, which is unfortunate because the game gets really interesting from here. Let me see if I can remember the moves. I'm pretty sure he doubles. I think I went rook g2 here, which attacks the knight. He went h5, which I thought he would. Then I went, I think I went here actually. And then I think he went here, and I went rook f1. He went here. I don't think this is right, actually. Actually, I think I went queen to h3 to sort of pin that. And then he went back here. And I went rook f1 because what I really wanted to do was knight g5 and try to take here. But he could just take, so that's not good, right? That's me. So I went rook f1, Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how this went at this part of the game. Unfortunately. Maybe you went here or something? And then here I was going to play. Oh, I know what he did. But I was going, if he did something like this, I was going to play knight g5 because look, I can take. But I thought he might be able to play like this. Actually, he cannot. No, this isn't the line I thought. The rooks are still stacked. Okay, so if here though, they can just play back. Yeah, they can go back. Then if I take, they actually just, I just thought knight f6. Yeah. Like they're protecting me, attacking the queen. I'm going to have to just go back. So this isn't going to work. And if this, you know, and if I just go back, then I don't think that's good. So I actually should go maybe here. But this can't be good either. Computer says knight h4. I think, yeah, this is not. So basically I'm just losing. And I tried to get something in, but instead he actually sacked, which is probably correct. Because after I take and he takes, which is what happened, it's hard to know what to do here. Yeah, I think I went, I don't know what I did. I think I went here, maybe? No, I think I went here. Yeah, I don't recall. So this is pretty much going to be the end of the line. So, so yeah, I'm going to delete the moves I didn't know. Okay, I don't know what I played at this point. So I'll run the computer analysis now. We did analyze quite a bit. Now, where do I think I went wrong? I think knight f2 was a bad move. And I think g4 may have been premature. That's what I think after analyzing with the masters and looking this over. So let's see if that's true. Yeah, it says I made a mistake and a blunder. 5 inaccuracies, by the way. But my opponent made 6 inaccuracies and a mistake. Wow. And if we look at the graph, can you guys see it? Yeah, you can. Yeah, I had like a good position and then I didn't. So where did I go wrong? Let's just go right to that part of the game. So starting here, I had a nice advantage. I should have played queen c2. And what was the reason for that? I think the reason was that black's going to go f5. I have to realize that. And queen c2 protects a pawn that black shouldn't even take and can't take right now. So I should have went queen c2, so then f5. And let's just say, I guess, if f4 and knight f7 here, I think this is different because look, we've got so much pressure here. And if they just go knight h6 protecting, I can actually still take it. Yeah, now this is a whole different story because we won that pawn and we're infiltrating. So, okay, yeah, that was definitely a mistake. That was my mistake. And then here, wow, queen c2 says inaccurate here as well. What should I have done then? Queen a3. Yeah, I saw queen a3, but wow. It's so hard to play that move. I don't know. Queen a3. I guess the point is that we're going to go queen g3. I mean, that's the only thing I can think. That the queen will be useful there, and we're also stopping that idea of, well, okay, whatever, computer. The master said don't worry about that pawn, so I'm going to listen to them, not the computer. Okay, so queen c2, knight h6. I guess g4 is okay. H takes g4 was the blunder. Wow, I would not have thought that. I have to take with a knight. Oh, I see why now. If we take with the knight, that whole pin thing is not a thing. That's just going to be a check, and we just slide out of the way, and that'll be it, right? Like, okay, that's it. Instead, taking with the pawn allows the pin. Yeah, wow. Turns out that was my big mistake of the game. After this, I'm worse, and he never lets up. Yep. Yep, it's true. And I did see this, and I did see knight f3, and I did see this, and I did see this. I saw all of this, so I had to see sooner. Yeah, I had to stop in this position. You know, I have to admit, in this position, I did not think long. I was like, well, I kind of have to take back the pawn because this is my whole point, that I'm threatening a fork. And it turns out that's the game-losing blunder. So it just goes to show you that even if you calculated something out and you know what you want to play, if it's a long time control game, you should reevaluate every step of the way. Because I think had I paid a little more attention, I would have seen that this is a pin and this is not. You know, this is not a pin. It's a huge difference. This is still equal. The other version is just losing. So okay, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I think I learned a lot from the game. Unfortunately, I lost both my games in the championship so far, but I played 2 players that were higher rated than me. So I guess it's not the end of the world, but I also feel I could do better. But this is basically a warm-up for the Kings Island Open. I'm going all out on the Kings Island Open, you guys. I'm going to try my very best. So stay tuned for that. Have a great night, and I'll be back with more chess.